The first promise Daniel ever made to Maya seemed too beautiful to be broken. He looked into her eyes with the kind of sincerity that made doubt feel impossible. "No matter what happens," he whispered, squeezing her hand beneath a sky full of stars, "I'll never hurt you." Maya smiled through happy tears. "I believe you." At that moment, she truly did. She wasn't simply falling in love. She was building her future around someone she trusted with her entire heart. She never imagined that the very person who promised to protect her heart would eventually become the one to break it. 3 years earlier, Maya hadn't been looking for love. She was 28, working as an interior designer in Chicago, determined to build a successful career after spending years helping her parents financially. Relationships had always taken second place. Then Daniel walked into her life. He was charming without trying too hard. Funny without being loud. Confident without arrogance. They met during a friend's birthday dinner where everyone else spent the evening staring at their phones. Daniel actually listened whenever Maya spoke. He remembered small details. Her favorite flowers. Her fear of thunderstorms. Her dream of someday opening her own design studio. He made her feel seen. After only a few months, they became inseparable. Weekend road trips became traditions. Movie nights turned into hours of talking about their childhoods. Holiday dinners became shared celebrations between both families. Everyone believed they were perfect together. Including Maya. Daniel wasn't just her boyfriend. He became her best friend. Whenever something exciting happened at work, he was the first person she called. Whenever life became difficult, he reminded her she wasn't facing it alone. When Maya received a promotion after years of hard work, Daniel surprised her by decorating their apartment with candles and photographs from every milestone they had shared. "I'll always celebrate your victories," he said. Maya kissed him. "I don't know what I did to deserve you." He smiled. "You loved me." Over the next 2 years, their future became clearer. They discussed marriage. Children. Buying a house. Starting a family. Daniel even showed her engagement rings online one evening. "Just curious," he joked. Maya laughed. "You'll ruin the surprise. I already know which one you'd choose." "Oh. The simplest one." She smiled. "You really do know me." He did. Or at least she believed he did. Life seemed almost perfect. Until little things began changing. At first, they were so small they barely seemed important. Daniel stopped sending his usual morning texts. Instead of calling during lunch breaks, he'd send short messages. "Busy. Meeting. Talk later." When he came home from work, he seemed distracted. Sometimes he stared silently at his phone. Other times he smiled at messages without explaining why. Whenever Maya asked what was wrong, his answer never changed. "Work has been overwhelming. I've just been stressed. I'm exhausted." She accepted every explanation. Because trust doesn't disappear overnight. It fades slowly. One excuse at a time. Her best friend, Emma, noticed before Maya did. "You don't think he's acting differently?" Maya shrugged. "Everyone gets busy." Emma hesitated. "I hope you're right." "I know Daniel." Emma looked away. "So do I." Weeks turned into months. Date nights became cancellations. Weekend trips disappeared. Conversations became shorter. Silence filled spaces where laughter once lived. Sometimes Daniel slept facing the opposite side of the bed. Sometimes he worked late 3 nights in a row. Sometimes he forgot promises he'd made only days earlier. Maya blamed herself. Maybe she wasn't supportive enough. Maybe she expected too much. Maybe relationships naturally changed after several years. She ignored the quiet voice inside her that whispered something was wrong. Then came the rain. It was an ordinary Thursday. Dark clouds rolled across Chicago. Heavy rain forced pedestrians into nearby stores and cafes. Maya hurried into a small coffee shop she'd visited many times before. She shook the rain from her umbrella and removed her coat. As she turned toward the counter, everything stopped. Daniel sat near the window. Across from him sat another woman. She laughed. Daniel laughed too. Then he reached across the table. His hand gently covered hers. The exact same gesture he'd used countless times with Maya. For several seconds, nobody moved. Daniel looked up. Their eyes met. The smile disappeared from his face. His expression changed from happiness to fear. He stood immediately. Maya. The woman looked confused. Daniel walked toward her. I can explain. Maya stared at him. Her voice barely rose above a whisper. Explain what? Silence. The lies. Daniel opened his mouth. Nothing came out. The promises? People nearby slowly realized something was happening. Nobody spoke. The future we planned together. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. It isn't what you think. She laughed. Not because anything was funny. Because sometimes pain becomes too heavy for tears. It never is. The other woman quietly stood. She looked between them. Then at Daniel. You told me you were single. Daniel closed his eyes. The room became even quieter. Maya finally understood. He hadn't betrayed only one person. He'd lied to both. Without another word, Maya picked up her umbrella. She walked toward the door. Daniel reached for her hand. She stepped back. The last promise you made to me. Her voice trembled. You broke it long before today. She left. The rain outside felt warmer than the tears running down her face. That night became the longest of her life. Every photograph reminded her of happier days. Every gift carried memories. Every room felt empty despite being full of furniture. She replayed every conversation. Every excuse. Every cancelled dinner. Every late-night meeting. The signs had always been there. Love had simply convinced her not to see them. Daniel called over 50 times. She ignored every call. He sent paragraphs explaining everything. He claimed he'd made mistakes. He insisted he still loved her. He begged for one conversation. Maya read none of the messages. Because some apologies arrive only after the truth can no longer be hidden. The weeks that followed tested her more than any period of her life. She struggled to sleep. Music reminded her of Daniel. Restaurants reminded her of Daniel. Entire streets reminded her of Daniel. She cried while grocery shopping because she accidentally picked up his favorite cereal. She cried folding laundry because one of his old sweaters remained in the closet. Heartbreak wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. Unexpected. Ordinary moments became painful reminders of someone no longer there. Emma stayed by her side. Sometimes they talked for hours. Sometimes they watched movies without speaking. Sometimes healing simply meant having someone willing to sit beside your silence. One evening Emma finally asked, "If Daniel came back today, would you forgive him?" Maya thought carefully. "I might forgive him someday." Emma nodded. "But I could never trust him again." Months passed. Instead of asking why Daniel betrayed her, Maya started asking different questions. What do I need now? What dreams did I postpone? What kind of life do I want? Slowly, the answers began changing everything. She enrolled in business classes. Saved every extra dollar. Accepted larger design projects. Worked late building a portfolio. Instead of waiting for happiness to return, she started creating it herself. 8 months after the breakup, Maya opened the doors to her own interior design studio. It wasn't enormous. It wasn't luxurious. But it belonged to her. As she unlocked the front door on opening day, she smiled through tears. Not because she missed Daniel. Because she finally realized she could build beautiful things without him. Her confidence returned little by little. She traveled alone for the first time. Visited art museums she'd always wanted to see. Made new friends. Learned photography. Started running every Saturday morning. Life wasn't replacing what she'd lost. It was introducing her to the version of herself she'd forgotten. One afternoon, nearly a year after the breakup, Maya received an unexpected email. From Daniel. She almost deleted it immediately. Instead, she opened it. It contained only a few sentences. I was selfish. I hurt you in ways you never deserved. You gave me honesty while I gave you excuses. I'm not asking for another chance. I only hope life gives you everything I failed to. She stared at the screen. Then quietly closed the email. No anger. No tears. Only peace. Exactly 1 year after that rainy afternoon, Maya found herself walking past the same café. The same windows. The same tables. The same sound of rain tapping gently against the glass. She walked inside. Ordered a coffee. Sat by the window. Everything looked almost identical. Except her. She wasn't the woman whose heart had shattered there. She had become someone stronger. Someone wiser. Someone who finally understood that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering without falling apart. As she watched strangers hurry through the rain, she smiled. Not because betrayal had been a gift. It hadn't. It had hurt deeply. But surviving it had revealed something even more valuable. Her own strength. Love should never demand that someone abandon their dignity. Real love brings peace. It doesn't require constant excuses. It doesn't ask you to ignore your instincts. And it never survives on lies. Maya finished the last sip of her coffee. She stood. Walked toward the door. Before stepping outside, she looked back one final time. Not searching for Daniel. Not hoping for closure. She already had it. Closure wasn't something another person could give her. It was something she had built herself. One choice at a time. One difficult day after another. One small act of self-respect after another. She smiled softly, pulled her coat around her shoulders, and stepped into the gentle rain. This time, she wasn't walking away from heartbreak. She was walking toward a future that no longer belonged to her past. And for the first time in a long time, she felt completely free.